Hello everyone, my name is Ankit Jain. I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. Today's video is on the bulk API. I have already released the part 1 on this bulk API series where we have discussed all the foundational logic of the bulk API, like how the bulk API is different from the REST API. As a developer or an architect, when you should go for the bulk API over the REST API, what all the key governor limits that you should be aware about the bulk API, and what all different steps that needs to be followed whenever you are using the bulk API. In case you folks didn't got a chance to check out the part 1, I will put the link in the video description. Do check that out. In this video, we will discuss more about how you can ingest the record into the Salesforce using the bulk API. Without further delay, now we can get started. In case you folks like to have one-to-one connect with me or want to download the few of the guides that are available, you guys can do that on the top pad. If you scan this QR code, you will be navigated on this page where there will be two options. First option to have one-to-one connect with me, where you can discuss all your career plannings as well as any mock interviews. In case any query you are stuck in your job, you can have a discussion with me on this option. Another one here is there are few digital products which are also available, like you can download the LWC notes, you can download the interview prep guide. Moreover, you can also download the admin guide as well as the data consultancy guide as well. Interview prep guide is something where I do have more than 400 plus questions from the different topics of the Salesforce, including the admin, Apex, LWC, flows, as well as the scenario based questions as well. Not only that, I do have the code snippet also available, whatever the scenarios that I have discussed in the interview prep guide too. In case you folks have attended the bootcamp and want to download the code as well as the notes that we discussed in the bootcamp, that also you can do from this guide as well. In case you folks like to connect the larger community where we discuss all the Salesforce queries, then please join the Telegram channel as well to get all the regular updates about the tech journey with Ankit. Now let's try to understand what is bulk API 2.0 ingest job. And I'll try to break this definition very clearly. So ingest job is specifically or more about how you want to load the data into the Salesforce. Loading of the data means in case you want to create the bulk record into the Salesforce, then you should go for the bulk API 2.0 ingest job. Another one here is in case you want to manipulate the large volume of data. Manipulation means in case you want to update or delete the records in the Salesforce, then you should go for the bulk API 2.0. The list of operations which are supported within the bulk API 2.0 ingest jobs is insert, where you can insert the new record, update to update the existing record. Make sure that while updating you are providing the Salesforce record ID. Upsert, where you can either insert or update the records in one shot. But while performing the upsert operation, you have to make sure that you are providing the external ID field. What is external ID field? I will talk about it down the line during the demo. And similarly, there's a delete in case you want to remove the existing record. Then again, you have to perform the you can perform the delete operation with the help of Salesforce ID. One thing that you have to keep in mind whenever you are working on the bulk API 2.0, it is always an asynchronous operation. That means it is not real time, it is near real time because the processing is something which is happen in the background. In case you folks have attended the part 1, always remember the analogy of the car that I have given and the truck that I have given. Car is something which can move fast, but carry the less amount of load. But truck is something which can move slowly, but carry the good amount of load. Bulk API 2.0, it's more like a truck which can carry the more load by moving it slowly. Now, while working on the bulk API 2.0, one of the key things that you should do is creation of the CSV file. Why the creation of the CSV file is important? Because the bulk API only supports the upload in the CSV format. Whenever you are putting any data to upload, you have to make sure that your data is available in the CSV file, and that CSV file, it must be the UTF-8 encoding. This is critical in case you are using some international characters or the special symbols in your data while uploading. So you have to make sure that it is UTF-8 encoding. Another key point that you have to remember about the header row. Header row is something which must contain the API name of the Salesforce fields that you are populating. API names, it is case sensitive. So in case, for example, on the contact object, the API name is something for the first name, which is in the kind of a Pascal case, first name. But in case you are putting everything into the lower case, then again your bulk API operation can fail. So make sure that you are putting the API in the correct case as well. Not only the name is correct, but also the case should also be the correct. Moreover, you can also specify the parent relationship fields as well. For example, for the related records like associating the contact with the account, you can use the parent object API name field followed by the field that you are matching on. Like on the account dot name, in case you want to upload the account name, right? Then you can go and put the account dot name as the correct API name. Next thing related to the data types. While performing the operation, data types are also equally important. Whatever the data that you are uploading, for example, the dates should always be in the YYMMDT format. In case you are uploading any Boolean field data, then the valid values are true or false. In case the data type is mismatch, again, there's a probability of having the conversion error. Last point, whenever you are performing the upsert operation, as I highlighted a minute before, external ID is something which is mandatory. If your field is not an external ID or it is not marked as an external ID, then the upsert operation can fail. Now, there are a few examples that I try to put how your data should look like in the CSV. So for example, if you are performing the insert operation, you guys can see that the first row is something which is highlighting all the API names of the field that you have to pass, right? And then you can, in the subsequent rows, you can populate the data that you want to upload. Similarly, in the case of update, one thing that you have to remember here is you must have the Salesforce ID, because based on the 18-digit ID only, Salesforce will perform the update operation. Third one, in case you are performing the upsert operation, you have to make sure that there must be an external ID field. So take an example here. Out of these three records, two of the records are already existing and one record is something which is not. Then the Salesforce will do here is it will go and update the existing record, and for here it will go and perform the insert operation. So this is how the upsert operation is something which is very helpful in case you want to make the decision at runtime whether it should be insert or update. And the last one here is the delete. In case you want to perform the delete, then the ID is something which is mandatory in your file. Now, what all the different API requests that needs to be sent to perform this operation? As I said, whenever you have to perform this operation, there are certain steps that needs to be followed. The step number one that you have to do here is you have to go and create the job. While creating the job, you will specify on which object you have to perform the operation, what kind of operation that you want to perform, whether it should be insert, update, delete, or upsert. You have to go and specify the operation. And finally, the line ending, you have to go and specify whether it is CRLF or the LF. Because we are using the CSV file, line ending is something which will play very important role while putting the definition of your job. You guys can always try out with the CRLF or LF because it does vary based on the operating systems, right? Currently in our demo, I will be going here for the CRLF, but in case the CRLF is not working for you, you can always come back and try with the LF as well. When this job will execute, right, as I said, you have to send the post request. You will get the response code as 200, and what the Salesforce will also return here is the job ID in case of successful operation. This job ID is something that you have to use in your subsequent request while uploading the records as well. Once the job has been created, as I said, the next step here is you have to send the put request on this endpoint along with the job ID that has been created in the step one to upload the records. Here under the body, you have to go and specify your file based on which you want to do the processing. One of the key corner limit that you should remember about the file size, it should not be more than 150 MB of per data job. In case it goes more than that, again your operation can fail. Now you have created the job, you have uploaded the data, but as of now Salesforce have not started the processing. Salesforce will start processing your records of ingestion only and only when you have closed the job. While closing the job, if you go and put the state here as upload complete, then the Salesforce will understand that now they have to start processing your data into the Salesforce. So once the state has been set as an upload complete, that means you are closing the processing, and now the Salesforce will start processing your records into the Salesforce. So you have to make sure that you are sending the patch request along with the job ID that you want to close, and here you have to specify the state as an upload complete. Now your data has been processed. What you have to do now, you have to go and validate how many records has been successfully processed and how many records has been filled. How you can do that validation? By using another API request that you will be sending with the get as the method, and the request here is you will be sending at this particular endpoint, which will return you the status of the job. It will identify how many records has been processed, how many record has been filled, right? What is the total processing time? Everything can be detailed here. In case you want to get the success as well as the failed result, then you can send another request. It will list you what all request has been success and what all records has been failed from the processing. So do remember that whenever you have to process the bulk API, you have to always follow the three-step process. First, you have to create the job. After that, you have to upload the data. And the last thing here is you have to go and close the job. And this is something that you can use only for the validation. Now we will see this in practice. We will go and connect the Salesforce with the Postman and try to upload few of the records from the Postman into the Salesforce. I have already explained in my previous videos how you can connect the Postman to the Salesforce. In case you folks didn't got a chance to go over that video, I will recommend to go over it, because in this video also I will be connecting the Postman to the Salesforce, but I will not be deep diving into the steps as in detail as I already done in one of my previous video. Okay, so what I will do here is I will quickly connect with the Postman. To get started, I will first go and create the workspace. I'll be creating the blank workspace with the name of bulk API demo and making it available only for me and clicking on create. Now in this workspace, I will be adding the Salesforce APIs. So for that, I will be searching here for the Salesforce developers. Make sure that I'll be selecting the one which is having the blue tick. And here there are lots of APIs available from the Salesforce, but what I am interested in the bulk API, which is available under the Salesforce platform API folder. So here I will be creating the fork out of it. Why fork? Because you can see there's a lock available here. You cannot modify those APIs, and that's why we create the clone out of it. To create the clone, I'll be creating the fork, and here I'll be giving the fork name as bulk API fork. This fork I will be creating under the bulk API demo. So that's what I will be selecting and adding that as a fork collection. Okay, let me go and log into my org. Okay, now my fork has been created. You guys can see I'm under my workspace and this is my fork. The next thing that I need to do here is I need to connect the Postman with the Salesforce. To do that, I will be clicking on the top, navigating to the authorization, scrolling it down, getting the new access token for the connection. As I'm already logged in, right, it is taking that connection. I'm clicking on the allow button and proceeding it. Now before clicking the use token button, I need to copy this instance URL because I need to go and put this instance URL in the Postman. So I'm copying this instance URL and then clicking on the use token. Now the instance URL that I have copied, I am navigating here to the variables, and under the variable you folks can see there's an endpoint. So here I am pasting that endpoint, right? Again, after pasting it, make sure that there are no additional spaces. And once you have pasted it, you have to hit the Control S. Many times we miss this step to hit the Control S, right? Do remember that once you have made the changes, you have to hit the Control S to save your changes. Now the changes has been saved. Let's quickly validate whether the connection is successful or not. The easiest way to do this is by sending one of the GET requests, which does not require any input. So I'm navigating here to the limits and sending this request, which will return me the governor limits of the org. Now I am getting the governor limits of the org. That means my connection is successful. Now coming back to the bulk API. So here I'm expanding the bulk API version 2 folder. As I said, there are three steps that needs to be done: create, upload, as well as the close. You guys can see these are the three steps are available here: create, upload, as well as the close. Very first thing that I will do here is I have to go and create the job. So to create the job, I'm navigating here, and in parallel also I'm opening the documentation of create job bulk API version 2, right? And this is the link that is coming up. So let's try to understand. This is the URL to which you have to send the request. It must be the post, right? And this is the request body, where few of the parameters which are optional, but few of them are mandatory as well. Like it is mandatory to specify the object operation, and external ID field name, it is something mandatory for the Upsert. Right now I'm showing you how to perform the insert operation. So I will be taking here the operation as the insert, navigating here to the body and specifying that I want to perform the insert operation on the account object. Right? As I said, one more thing that you should always specify here is the line ending. The default value for the line ending is LF. In case the default is not working, as it is not working for me as well, but that I have tested. So what I will be doing here is, here I am putting the line ending as the CRLF. And then I go and click on the send button. So once you go and send the post request, as I said, the expectation here is you will be getting this job ID. Now, once you have the job ID, that means your request has been created successfully. What you can do here is you can navigate here to the setup menu, and let me also navigate the sales application. Uh, these are the few records that are already available. You go and create this, right? Once you have created the job, you guys can see that if I take you to the bulk data load job under the setup menu, the job is already available now. That means the job is successfully created, and here it will show you on what object the job has been created, what operation needs to be done. All those details can be captured from here. In case you want to abort the job, you guys can directly do it from here as well. Now, the job is ready. As I've said here, the next step that we have to do once the job is ready is the upload the data. To upload the data, I'll be sending the upload data request. And here, you guys can take a note under the header. As I said, it only supports the CSV format. So it already shows the text/CSV. Navigate into the body, and this is the place where you have to go and upload the record. So while uploading the record, as I said, header is something which is more important. You have to always make sure that you are using the correct case. And the way I personally do here is I go to the Salesforce Inspector tab, and from here I will go and write down the query to what all records that I need to fetch. So for example, here I need to fetch the name, or I need to go and insert the name, industry, rating from account. Okay, so these are the few things that I need to do. So again, I will be limiting only to this one because I'm more interested in the column names here. So let me also go and open the Excel file to process those records. So I am opening one of the Google Sheet. And this is something format that I want to use. Here I go and paste it. Right now I can go and populate the records the way I want. Here I go and delete this column. Under the name, I'll be putting here the test account 1. Right here I'll be putting the energy, education, few of the industries that I will be repeating, and hot, cold, warm. Right, this is how I want to go and upload the data. So I make sure that the API names of the columns are correct. And another thing that I need to make sure here is the files, it must be stored in the form of CSV. So while downloading, I need to make sure I'm selecting the comma separated values and saving that file. Let me give the name to the file, account bulk data. Okay, and here I am giving the name as an insert and then downloading the CSV file. Okay, now the CSV file has been downloaded. What I can do, I can come here and upload the file. So this is the file. Where is the file? Let's go and expand this. Yeah, insert. Right, this is the file that I have created. I am uploading the file and sending the request back. Now you can see my upload operation is successful. I am getting the response code as 201 created. But as of now, the data is not created inside the Salesforce. The data will be created only when you will be doing the third step, that is closing the job, right? And while closing the job, you have to make sure that the state here should be the upload complete. Once I go and send this request, then the Salesforce will start processing the data. So here I go and send this, right? You can see now the operation has been closed. Now the Salesforce will start processing those records. Now how you can check whether the operation is successful or unsuccessful? For that, there is another request here, that is the get job info. You can send that request here and clicking on the send button, and here you can see I am getting all those details here, whether the operation is successful or not. Here you see it mentions that all the 19 records has been processed. One thing that I missed to highlight here is whenever you are creating the job, folks, what the Postman will automatically do, it will automatically populate this job ID variable. Okay, and that's why all the requests that we are sending, it is linked to this one particular job ID. My upload, even my closed, you can see everything is linked to the one common job ID. So all the 19 records has been processed. You can also check the status from the setup menu. If you go and refresh it here, you can see that all the 19 records has been processed successfully. You can always come back to here and make your query to check whether the records are inserted or not. Here I can see all the records has been inserted. Here I can see all the records, whatever the records that we have put up here, everything has been inserted. Now, moving to the next operation that I want to show you here is the update. Now for update, what you have to do, you have to make sure that you always have the ID as the column. So here I am also taking the ID as the column. And what I want to do here is I want to update the industry for all those records to energy. Okay, so I'll be removing all the other columns because ideally you should have only those columns that you want to update. So this is the only one column that I want to update. It's not like you can only update one column, you can update the multiple column. Let me have the two columns to update to show you. Okay. So these are the two columns that I want to update. So again, I am copying this Excel format and pasting it here. This is the column that I don't want, so I will be dropping this column. ID is something that I want, where I want to put the rating as, let's say, old for all of them, and industry that I want to update here is the energy for all of them. Right, and let me go and save this file as an update file. That's what I want to do. And here I go and download this CSV file now. So my another file is ready to perform the update operation. Now, can I directly go and upload the file? The answer to this is no. I need to follow all the steps one more time. So again, I will be creating the job. This time while creating, I am specifying that I want to perform the update operation. Make sure that the case is correct as per the documentation. Here you can see it is saying update. That's why here I am putting here as an update. On the account, I want to perform the update operation. This is the job which has been created. Navigating to the upload job data, the same job ID has been populated here. The new job ID, I will be selecting my new file. This is the update file that I am selecting and clicking on open, sending the request one more time, right? And after that, to process it, again, before processing, let me show you the job has been created here for the update. You can see the job has been created here for the update operation. Navigating here, navigating here and closing the job for the processing. Now the job has been closed for the processing. Let's go and check the status of the job. For that, I will be using the get job info, sending this request, and it says that all the 32 records has been processed. Let's navigate here, click on the export. You can see that the rating is updated as cold and the industry is updated as energy for all the records. That means my operation is successful. Now the third operation that I want to show you here is the upsert operation. How you can perform the upsert operation for the bulk data. For that, again, you have to navigate to the object manager. And what I will be doing here is I will be creating one field which can act as an external account number. Okay, and this field I am making it as an external ID. So clicking on the new, navigating here to the text field, because external ID field is something which is mandatory for the upsert operation. So here I'll be putting the external account number. Length I'll be putting up here as a 60. One thing that you have to make sure while creating the field, the external ID checkbox is checked. If this is checked, then we are good. Clicking on next. Right. I'm making this field available for the system administrators. Clicking on next. And clicking on save. I'm adding this field on the layout as well. Now let me go and set up the data for a few of the records. So I'll be navigating here to the sales application and setting few of the dummy records for the external account number. Here I will be adding one more field to display. And I will be selecting here the external account number. Again, this is something I don't want. So let me go and move this up after the account name and clicking on save. Let me go and populate the external account number for few of the records. Let's say here I am saying that it is ACC01, ACC02, and the ACC03. Okay, these are the few records which have the external account number. Coming back to the data export, here I will be getting only those records where let me go and refresh this, where external account number is not equal to null. And here I go and get the column that is the external account number. That's it. So there are three records that we do have for the external account number, and I'll be putting up here the name column as well, clicking on export. Okay, now I want to perform the upsert operation here. So what I will be doing, again, I'm copying this file, putting up here first column I don't want, I'm getting rid of it. ID I don't want, again I'm getting rid of it. Right, so these are the three accounts which are already available that I want to update. Okay, so here let's say I want to go and set the rating back to the hot, and there's an upsert account that I want to create for which the ID is not available. Here again I am saying that, let's say it is cold, it is energy, and here I'll be putting the ACC04. What the system should do, system should go and update the three records rating, and system should automatically go and create the fourth record. Both insert and update should happen from the one file. Let me go and perform the upsert operation here, and again exporting the file in the form of CSV. My file is ready to perform the operation. Let me come here and create the job. Now, while creating the job for the upsert operation, another thing that you have to take care here is you have to always go and populate one more attribute, that is the external ID field name. It is something which is required for the upsert operations. So navigating here, putting a comma, putting the external ID field name, and the external ID field name that I do have here is the external account number. So this is the API name that you have to put while creating the job for the upsert operation. So So this time on the account object, I will be performing the upsert operation, and this is my external ID field. So here I go and click on send. My job is created as an upsert job. Again, I'll be following the same thing, uploading the file that I have created for the upsert. This is the file, opening that file and sending the file. Right now, they're doing the next thing to process those records, following the same step, closing the job as well. Now the job has been closed. Let's go and check the status of the job, whether everything is good or not. So navigating here to the get job info, and as of now, what it says here is the operation is in progress. Right, let me go and send this one more time. Now the job operation has been completed and the number of record processed is 4. Now again, if I come here, let's go and check whether the rating has been updated at hot or not, and the new account number has been created or not. So clicking on the export button, you can see the rating has been updated as hot and the new account is also created with the upsert operation. So this is how you folks should perform the upsert operation. Now the last thing that we have to do here is I need to go and perform the delete operation. So here I want to delete all the records. Let's say that starting from the test. So here I go and put select ID from account, where the name like test. Okay, and these are all the records that I want to delete. So copying this in again in the Excel format, preparing my file, because while deleting you should only pass the delete operation. So this is my file. Again, I am naming the file to delete and exporting the file in the form of CSV. So this part has been done. My file has been exported in the form of CSV for the delete. Now coming to the Postman to perform this operation, again I need to go and create the job. This time my operation will be the delete operation. No need to specify the external ID field name. So I am removing that, removing the additional comma as well, and sending the request. Delete operation request has been created. Again, uploading the file, selecting the file from the local machine, and the file is for the deletion. Clicking on open and sending the request. Right, once this part has been done, then the next thing that I will do here is to process those records. I have to close the job. So here I go and close the job. Now the operation has been closed. Let's go and check the status of the job, whether it is good or not. Clicking on send. Here you guys can see all the records, 19 record has been processed and it has been deleted. Now again, if I go and click on the export, there should not be any records available for the name of test. Here if I go and refresh, you guys can see all those records has been deleted as well. I hope you folks got the understanding how we can go and perform the create, update, upsert, and the delete operations with the help of bulk APIs. It is quite simple. Only thing is you should know it's a 3-step operation: creation of the job, uploading the data, and then closing the job. For any such videos, please subscribe the channel and do follow the channel as well, folks. In case you do have any comments, any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good time.